Hello everybody, welcome back to a video, another mod kind of review. I liked the one about Buzzy Bees. I liked doing that, I thought it was quite fun, so I thought I'd try this one out as well. I'll try relatively small ones to start with, and then I might do some bigger ones, maybe Quark would be a good one to do. But this one here is called Archer's Paradox, and this is for Minecraft Java 1.16.5, and this works on CurseForge only just now. I don't know if this will ever come to Fabric, or if this will ever work on Fabric, but we'll have to see. Anyway, basically what this mod does is it adds a ton of new arrows. So you can see here we have 18 new types of arrows. Each one does their own individual thing, which is completely different from your basic arrows. And this is really good for combat actually, because some of these are quite hard to get, but they're also really useful. There's a couple of really interesting ones here. The lightning arrow being one, and also the redstone arrow. So today I'm going to go over what every single one of them does and how to craft them. I set up quite a few things, basically to just illustrate that. And without further ado, let's just get on to the first arrow. So, taking a look at the first one, we have the Blaze Arrow. And what this one does is if you go over and you hover over the arrow itself, I'm going to go over here just so you can see, it will actually tell you what it does. So this says it ignites the target and blocks on impact. So it's basically a fire arrow that actually works. The fire arrows in default vanilla Minecraft, they set targets on fire but nothing else. I think you should have the option to make them be able to set other things on fire, because it just kind of makes sense. But we're going to take a look at this one first of all. So, taking the bow, we can see from any distance it doesn't show up on the actual bow pulling back animation, which is a shame. I wish it came up like it shows you what arrow you're using in the bow. But if we draw back, we can see that when the arrow flies, it will actually have its own texture. And boom, it ignites a little fire, nice little particle effect here. And actually, it spreads quite quickly and lights quite a few blocks on fire. So you can see if we do this again, and if you pull it all the way back, it will ignite more. So if you just lit it lightly, it'll emit a smaller amount of particles. And we can see here, obviously, the arrow has a nice little texture here, very similar to the one in the inventory. So as we can see here, it's burning the tree away. And this does actually work on targets as well, so I'll give a quick demonstration to one of these creepers over here. And boom, there we go, we can see it ignites him on fire. So he's burning away there. And I think this just does the same amount of damage as any normal arrow. Or maybe not. So one shot from the blaze arrow is enough to kill a creeper. With the fire as well. So that's pretty nice, and this tree is all but gone now. So that's the blaze arrow. Quite a cool one. I do like it a lot. Taking a look at the second one, we have the challenge arrow. And this one deals no damage, and it's used to test an archer skill. And basically, all you really use this one is just for practice. It doesn't do any damage, so you can just go ahead and practice away. Now, what I do like about this one is it adds a special effect. So when you hit a target, you're going to hear a beep sound. And you're going to see here we have Archer's Gambit. And this is basically a buff that will affect your archery and just make you more... I think it deals more damage as well. Helps you do more damage. And you can see it will go away. And when it says Gambit complete, that is it's going to carry on that buff for however long. So once this runs out, if I then continue hitting this creeper with the arrow and continue hitting him, you're going to see that the beep sound is going to keep going up. And eventually this Gambit complete will last, I think it's 3 minutes, I think it's almost 4 minutes it'll last for. And it basically does a few things for you. But it's very nice, very cool. So it's just a training arrow essentially. It doesn't do any damage to enemies. Taking a look at the next arrow, we have the diamond arrow, and this, as we can see here, does increased damage but pierces one target. Now I don't know if that's necessarily true, because if I try this out on these two creepers, it is going to pierce through the both of them, which I'll just show off here, like so. That's going to go through the both of them. So it clearly doesn't pierce through one target, but oh well. So that kills them both in 2 hits. So yeah, very very effective actually for large groups of enemies. You can pierce to multiple of them at the same time. So that's your diamond arrow. And if we take a look at our next one, we have the displacement arrow. And what this does is it creates a temporary area which will teleport anything that walks into it away. So if we test this out here, I'm just going to fire it down on this dirt block. We're going to see it emits some ender particles within a radius, And what you'll see is if we then jump into this, it's going to teleport us to a random location. So this is quite cool. You could use this in PvP. It could be quite handy, just to confuse players. And eventually, after a little while, that particle effect will go away and the effect will no longer work. So that's the displacement arrow. Over here we have the ender arrow, and as you can see here, this teleports the shooter and the target. So we're going to try this out on this little creeper here. So we just bop him, and we're going to both teleport close to each other. Now this could end badly if you did this in survival. That's generally not what you want. To place yourself near a creeper, but I guess it's quite cool. It could be useful for PvP if you want to get up close to a player. You shoot them with the ender arrow, and then you can come in and finish them off with a sword. So that is quite interesting. So that's your ender arrow. Next we have the explosive arrow, and this creates an explosion on impact, surprisingly. So we'll go and test this over here. So you can see if I just draw fairly back, boom, that will create an explosion. And again, we can test this again, and that will just eliminate everything. So yes, this could be very handy actually. It's a very cool arrow if you're into griefing. You can launch. You're basically firing blocks of TNT from your bow. So yeah, very dangerous, that arrow, but very cool as well. Moving on, we now have the frost arrow, and this will chill the target and freeze nearby blocks on impact. So if we go test this on this creeper, we can see that he's moving around quite happy in that little cell there. But if we go and shoot him with this arrow, you're going to see that if he tries to move, he's going to move very slowly if he bothers to try. So if I shoot him now, do you want to move? Yeah, there we go. You see that there? Very slowly. And then eventually he will walk normally again. So yeah, this is a very cool arrow. It can slow down your enemy. Maybe if you're chasing somebody, you bop them with the frost arrow, slows them down, allows you to get back up to them and finish them off. So yeah, it's another very interesting arrow. A lot of these arrows would be really good for PvP actually. Almost all of them would be really suitable. Moving on, we now have the glowstone arrow, and this will brighten things up a bit apparently. So let's test this over here. Actually, maybe we should turn this to night to give this a proper test. So if I just launch this and boom, and yes indeed, it will emit a very large area actually. That's a big area of light. This could be really handy if you're in caves, and it actually lasts for quite a while it seems. There we go, and test again. Yeah, that's a big area. This could definitely be useful. Very cool indeed. So that will eventually run out, but that's quite a significant area that lights up there, and that will be a light level 15. Moving on, we have my favourite, the lightning arrow. This is really cool. Calls down a lightning bolt on impact. So this is very similar to some stuff you can get with tridents. I believe tridents can do that. I can't remember what. I think it's channeling enchantment. But this bow just does it. This arrow just does it, as you can see, like that. And you can launch arrow after arrow after arrow, like so, calling down multiple bolts. So you don't even have to fully draw it back. You just have to fire it essentially, or drop back far enough so that it fires. And this is really useful again if you don't have the trident channeling enchantment. You can come over here and hit this creeper, and it will turn it into a charged creeper. So you can get yourself some mob heads. Just be careful not to kill him while you hit him with that lightning bolt, because he doesn't die. Okay, very cool. Next, we have the Phantasmal Arrow, and this is actually very similar to the Ancient Arrow from Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. This flies straight and pierces everything, so very good. And we can see if we draw this back, it is going to continue in a straight line, like so. Very nice. That will continue on until it gets out of render, and yes, so that's very cool. And if we go and test this, since it pierces everything, if we go and test this over here, why are these creepers not spawned? That's very strange. But if we go and place all these creepers in a row like so, we're going to see that if we shoot one arrow through the front of this, it's going to actually pierce through every single one of them, which is very interesting, like this. So you can see, there we go, it goes through all of them there, and I believe it's 3 arrows. Yeah, it'll be 3 arrows that it takes to kill all of these guys. Or no, 4. 4? Yeah, 4, there we go. And it didn't quite hit those ones over there. But there we go, we can see it hits them all. So yeah, another very useful arrow. Great for if you're not good with the whole bullet drop, not bullet drop, arrow dip, when you fire a bow, if you're not too good with your accuracy. but that is the Phantasmal Arrow. Next, we have the Prismarine Arrow, and what this does is it improves flight when underwater. So we can see here we have a little water tunnel set up with that redstone lamp over there and a button. And what we'll do is if we fire, actually, well, yeah, we're gonna see there that will fly through normal at normal speed. Goes through normal as if the water just wasn't there. Whereas if we try this with a normal arrow, we will see that it will just go through. It will go through at a much slower pace, like so. So yeah, that is the Prismarine Arrow, and this could be, if you have a Guardian farm, these could be very easy to get and very useful for fighting drowned or any other things you might find underwater. So yeah, another useful arrow indeed. Over here we have the Quartz Arrow, and what this does is actually quite a significant knockback increase. So if we go over here and we just get up another normal arrow, we're going to see here that it's not going to knock back this creeper too far, like that. So that's not too bad, but not too good either. Now, if we try the Quartz Arrow here, we're going to see that it knocks back this creeper far more. If we try this like this, we're going to see the normal arrow. So yeah, not much of a knockback, whereas with the Quartz Arrow, far more significant. That's a good 4 or 5 blocks knockback there. So yes, very useful. So that is the Quartz Arrow. That's your Quartz Arrow. Next, we have the Redstone Arrow. Now this is a really cool one. What this will do is charge everything within a radius for a short time. I'm sure people who like redstone could probably find something to use with this. I never do redstone, so I have no idea what you'd use this for, but hey ho, it's fine. So if I fire this arrow within 4 blocks of this redstone lamp, it's going to light it. So it has a 4 block radius, this arrow. So if I fire it on the second block here, you can see it's going to ignite or light up this redstone lamp. It's going to charge it as if there were a redstone signal leading into it. Similarly, it lasts for quite a while as well. Similarly, if we go and fire it on the 4th block here, it's going to not ignite, not light it up. That's strange. Last time I checked that it did. Never mind. It has must have a 3 block radius then. So if we change that and put this back to red, so it has a 3 block radius. My bad. There we go. I thought it had a 4 block. Last time I checked, it had 4. Ah well. So that is the redstone arrow. And you can see again, if we fire in this red zone here, it's not going to light up the redstone lamp. So that is your redstone arrow. And moving on to the last couple, we have, or last few, sorry, we have the shulker arrow. And this will home in on a target, so very similar to your shulker itself. And will also make the target levitate. So we can see here, if we shoot to the side of this creeper, it's actually going to lock onto the creeper. Like so. And it's going to launch them up into the air. So if we try that again, if I just launch to the side, it's going to actually home in on the target. Like so. If I fire it again, you can see that will lock onto him and levitate him up. So he can see what it feels like to have a levitating, and he will drop down and die like that. So that is your shulker arrow, so that's a very cool one as well. Here we have the slime arrow. This one's really cool actually. This will bounce, so it bounces a number of times, does low damage but has very high knockback. And if I'll demonstrate the whole bouncing here. If I just fire this at the ground, you're going to see that that's going to bounce in the air multiple times, like so. Very cool. And now if we put the creeper down, this has a much higher knockback. Like that. That is a very high knockback. Incredibly useful. If you have creepers advancing to you, you just quickly shoot them in the face with the slime arrow. That's going to get them very far away and ensure that they don't explode. Or players as well, if you're not really in the mood to fight them, hit them with the slime arrow and they will go flying. So that is your slime arrow. Very, very cool as well. Down here we have the spore arrow. I don't know why you'd want to use this, but you might. It essentially spreads the glory of fungus, as it says on the description. And what this does, if you shoot any grass block, it will actually spread it to mycelium and grow some mushrooms. Now I guess this could be quite useful if you haven't got swamps or anything nearby. So it spreads mycelium around, and that will ensure you can essentially make your own mushroom biome with these. So I guess it is quite cool. Nice texture as well to it. Over here we have the training arrow. Again, deals no damage, used for practice, but this will not give you the Archer's Gambit, I don't think. I could be wrong on that. I haven't actually tested this one out yet, so we'll try now. Oh, hit streak. Oh, okay. So that will essentially just build up over time. You see, it's going to make that same ding sound, and it will go up and up and up as soon as you keep hitting it. That's going to actually increase your streak here to let you know how many shots you've actually hit in a row. So I've hit 7 there. So yeah, it's very cool. Again, nice little thing. If you're not too good with your archery, you can polish up your archery skills with that. And last but certainly not least, we have the Verdant Arrow, and this is going to actually spread. This is basically like firing bone meal from your bow. So we can see if we jump all the way over here to the grass, we shoot the arrow, boom, lots and lots of long grass and flowers. So yeah, you're shooting bone meal essentially. And if we try it here, is it going to spread? No, nothing at all. Now if we get a tree, if we get a sapling, sorry, I want to test this out. Will it actually? Will it make the tree grow? Let's see. I don't know if it will. Maybe not. Oh, it will. That's cool. So yeah, it literally does work the exact same as bone meal. So you can grow your trees with arrows if you want. So that's quite a cool arrow. And there we have it. That is all of the arrows that this mod pack has to offer. And that's quite a lot. There's 18 in total of them, and each of them are completely different, and they all offer very different properties. Some of them are really interesting. I think my favourites are probably the explosive arrow. I also like that, what was it called again? The lightning arrow, yeah, that was a good one. And also the phantasmal one, the one that goes straight. Very interesting. Now if we go over to crafting recipes, we're going to see that these are relatively easy to craft. So we'll start off with the blaze arrow here. Simply 1 blaze powder surrounded by 4 arrows will give you 4 blaze arrows. So not too difficult there. For the challenge arrow, a wee bit more demanding. We're going to have 4 training arrows, like so, a bottle of enchanting, 2 lapis lazuli, and 2 emeralds, and that's going to give you 4 challenger arrows. Next we have the diamond arrow, as you could have guessed, a feather, a stick, and a diamond for 4 diamond arrows. Then over here we have the displacement arrow, which is 4 ender arrows surrounded with 1 gunpowder in the middle. And speaking of the ender arrow, we have 4 arrows with a ender pearl in the middle to craft yourself 4 ender arrows. The TNT arrow, the explosive arrow, my bad, is a TNT block surrounded by 4 normal arrows. That's going to give you 4 explosive arrows. The frost arrow is 1 packed ice surrounded by 4 normal arrows. That will give you 4 frost arrows. Down here we have the glowstone arrow, really easy to craft this. Shootable torches, essentially. The glowstone dust surrounded by 4 normal arrows is going to give you your glowstone arrow. The lightning arrow is going to be 1 nether star. Wow, that's expensive. 1 nether star surrounded by 4 normal arrows, and that's going to give you 4 lightning arrows. So yeah, that's very expensive. Phantasmal arrow, we're going to need some ectoplasm surrounded with 1 arrow in the middle. And the ectoplasm, I'm actually not too sure how you get that, because I didn't even know it was here. Oh, here we go. Ectoplasm, 1 slime ball, and 1 ghast tear is going to give you 1 ectoplasm. So that's a relatively easy recipe to come up with, and that will give you your phantasmal arrows. 2 phantasmal arrows for this instead. Your prismarine arrow is going to be 1 feather, 1 stick, and 1 prismarine crystal. That'll give you 4 prismarine arrows, and that's the improved flight underwater. Quartz arrow, 1 feather, 1 stick, 1 quartz, and that will give you your increased damage and knockback slightly. The redstone arrow, 1 redstone surrounded by 4 normal arrows for 4 redstone arrows. Shulker arrow, 1 ender eye surrounded by 4 arrows, and then 2 popped chorus fruits and 2 endstone. That's going to give you your shulker arrow. Where are we down here? Slime arrow, 1 feather, 1 stick, 1 slime ball for 4 slime arrows. That's the bouncy one. Very good knockback on that one. I like that one a lot. It's very cool. Your spore arrow is going to be 1 mycelium, 2 mushrooms of any kind, doesn't really matter, and 2 bone meal. That's going to give you your spore arrows. Your training arrow, which we needed for the, where was it? The challenge arrow, is going to be 1 rabbit hide, 1 stick, and 1 feather, as you can see, tipped with leather, not going to do any damage. And lastly, but not least, we have the verdant arrow, and that is going to need 1 grass block, 4 arrows, any flower, and 2 bone mail. And there we go, there you have it. That is all of the arrows that this mod pack has to offer, and their crafting recipes. So with that, we've gone over all of their effects, what they do on different things, and yeah, that's the mod pack. So if you enjoyed, please leave a like if you'd like to continue watching, and I will see you all later, and thanks for sticking around.